much time watching my videos, you know that a lot of the problems we find are related to pressure, either from slips or from too much weight being on a particular claw. Now typically, that lateral claw, that outside claw on the back foot of a cow, is the one that's going to take the majority of the weight, especially when that foot loads, when it first comes down and touches the ground. So that's why we typically see most of the problems in that claw. But today's is in the medial. So why would that be? Well, with this cow, she has a little bit of what we call reverse corkscrew or corkscrew claw syndrome. What that means is a lot of the weight is going to end up being on that medial claw on the back feet instead, meaning when she takes that step, that weight, that ground force contact when her foot touches the ground is going to actually land on the medial. Therefore, those same problems that we typically see on the lateral, we're going to see more of on the medial claw with cows that have corkscrew claw syndrome. So when it comes to issues with the medial claw, cows tend to be more sensitive on those than they are with the lateral, just because of the way the cow walks. Now, if it's a problem on the lateral claw, she can simply turn her foot to the outside, and that medial claw will then take more weight and make her more comfortable. However, with the medial claw, she can't do that. She can't turn her foot to the inside to take weight off. It's just not possible the way that her bone structure is. So, therefore, they tend to show more symptoms when it is a medial claw. Even more so important why we have to get to these right away. Now, if we take a look at that lateral claw, you might see some redness in there. Some people may think that that's concerning, but for me, I know that that's in a small layer of hoof. I don't have to worry about that because that redness, what we see now, actually happened months ago in that when that layer of hoof was deposited. That is all the way out now at the surface. There's actually about a 1/4 inch of quality horn behind that, so that's how we know that that problem has resolved. This one on this claw, however, has not, and that's what we're addressing now. Right here is where that initial problem was, so it's safe to say that we're going to need to remove all of this. As I mentioned earlier, what we see now has actually happened months prior. Now, I don't necessarily mean that this cow has been lame for months, but the initial problem that caused this did happen months ago. And the way we know that is that as that horn is developed, that's when that flaw happens. The redness on the lateral claw, that was deposited months ago as that new hoof horn was deposited. These white line issues a lot of times can be the exact same way. If there's a flaw in that white line due to pressures and that white line doesn't develop properly, eventually that flaw is going to make its way to the outside. That's when this claw becomes vulnerable. That's when bacteria can get in there and start to cause problems. It's not until those bacteria get in there that there's any real discomfort for the cow. She doesn't even actually know what's happened. Now that the majority of my knife work is done, and I know that this block is not going to be a problem, I can get that on now. Then we'll go back and start spraying this down, get it really clean, so we can apply our salicylic acid powder.